Okay. All right. We are live. Tom's here, so we did not have to start on time. He would not be yelling at us. So, sorry we missed last week. Glad Olga took care of it with her crazy crew of Like Our Politics Red. Like your picture. It was good. Happy New Year to everyone. January 2nd in the year of our Lord 2026. As Steve Bannon would say, he started his show at 10 o'clock. He normally says in the year of our Lord, he's like, he said 2025. He's like, I practiced it and practiced it and practiced it all morning, and he still did it wrong. So that's part of getting older, as we all are doing. But hope everybody had a great New Year. There's a lot of glad you're back. Welcome back to the South.
And a grandfather at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Fantastic. That's really good. Good. I don't know how exciting or what's been going on that much. I know the thing people are talking about right now are the Freedom Index scores that have come out. You see that on social media. A lot of people are talking about that. What I find interesting on those, I think there's a couple people that maybe one or two that had 100 score or whatever. Some of them, and I think Rob Harris was justified.
His was justified.
Some
he
had
knows values.
yes.
Yeah.
Some had scores that were a little higher because they did not vote on
Because
certain
they
things.
abstained or they didn't show up.
Correct. Or they were sitting there and abstaining, which is to me not the right.
Yep.
Right. To me, that's the way it should be, or a negative vote. What I also found interesting, just sampling some of the Freedom Caucus folks voting, where they did get deemed, was on the two issues that I guess were non-freedom, but they're pushed by Jim DeMint and the money special interests that are behind them, which is government-run school choice and the Convention of States. So those are the two big things that Jim DeMint is paid for. Even though back, I think it was years ago, it was probably 2019, 2021, Jim DeMint actually came and spoke at the Greenville GOP meeting and before we took over and before we voted the rhinos out. Better way to say it. But he came and spoke, and he spoke about convention states and school choice ESAs and all that kind of stuff. And he was pushing the government run solutions. And when in his speech, he's like, I just do this because I volunteer, I care about it. Well, I'm a tax attorney, and I know where exactly to go look on their tax returns to see if these people have been paid. Jim DeMint was one of the top 5 independent, I guess, contractors for the Convention of States people. And I think on their last tax return, it showed that he got paid, I don't think it was $170,000 or something like that. I'm like, so when I say I'm volunteering, that's what no. I mean, the volunteering is you're doing something which all of us are doing and not getting paid for it.
I like his idea.
Yeah.
Hey.
But the key was lying about it.
Right.
Misleading and lying and telling people that you're not paid, you're just doing it for fun. Would you forget if you got a check at your house here in Greenville for $100-something?
No, I think I remember that.
You probably
I remember that.
It may have gotten lost in all the other
special interest money.
That was nothing compared to others.
According to the other 51 freaking checks I got, they were
Yes.
7 figures.
But I actually, it was funny at the time. I found that, sent it to some other people that then published it all out and really went after it pretty hard about it. So, but whatever. It is
Yeah,
what
that's
it
the
is.
problem, lack of transparency.
Well, I mean, and a lot of folks you hear, there's dark money everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And there is, people are now talking about Lindsey Graham funneling, I don't know, it's like 11 million of money number one, money into his personal bank account. I'm like, number one, I don't think he's doing it into his personal bank account. There's about 1,000 other ways
Yeah.
to launder money, into something that he would have access to or something.
They're just trying to get the idea out there.
Right.
Yeah.
But nobody really
Fantasy.
launders money into their personal, Bank of America bank account. I don't think. They're arrogant, but I don't know if they're that crazy and arrogant.
We're in Lexington.
Lindsay could be that arrogant.
Well, he could be, and they do make mistakes. He's surrounded by probably a lot of lawyers. He's a lawyer, so he probably got plenty of people around him. So he's probably not like RJ May to go look at kitty porn on your personal phone and your personal computer, and log in with your Joe Biden, whatever.
We won't say what kind of porn.
It was. It,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we.
Well,
It's not making unsubstantiated allegations.
it's unsubstantiated, but it's not for RJ May. So, and I did have this conversation with a friend earlier this week. Over the past couple of days, they were feeling like RJ was just kind of set up, which you can set people up. I get that, but I'm sure he was probably looked at.
But to that level,
To that, I don't think they planted evidence on him. I think they may have looked at him because of who he was and he was on the other side of stuff, and they'll look into you for that. But I think they found something they probably didn't expect.
Remember, to get set up, you have to open the door to give them the opportunity
Correct.
to set you up.
But
It's always the basis.
yes, yeah, I agree. I mean, but when you're on the other side of the powers that be, they, you gotta run a pretty clean ship. I mean, it's like, people ask me legal advice or legal questions, and I'm like, number one, I got to go through the whole dissertation of I'm not licensed in the state of South Carolina, I'm only licensed in Georgia, I'm not giving it, I'm not charging, all that. I have to go through all that because God forbid they would come back and say I'm practicing law without that license.
Not a lot, exactly.
And that's
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You can't open the door.
right. Yeah. So you just don't do those things.
Yeah.
So I've quit looking at porn.
Why?
That was a joke. That was a joke. That little snippet's gonna come out right there.
Exactly. They're gonna take that away from the Yeah.
Yeah, we like to have fun, and I'm not running for office. So. I will tell you, I did also have a conversation. We have these kitchen conversations over the holidays and stuff like that with family and friends. I'm sure a lot of people did. And one person was asking, do you think Trump hates people that much? Hates. I had the same shock, but I'm like, their feeling is the things what he said about Rob Reiner. Do you think he hates Rob Reiner? I think he said what he believed is true. I don't think I necessarily disagree with what he said. It might not have been tasteful, might not have been the right thing or right timing, but I don't think he's saying it out of hate. I don't think the guy cares enough to hate what Rob Reiner does.
they true that was not true about Rob Reiner.
Well, and that's sadly I think is accurate. If you look at the pure letter of the law, the words that are coming out of his mouth.
If you wanted to see hate, then all you had to do was look at the left and Charlie Kirk got killed.
Yeah.
Well, yes,
They were all like, oh, yeah.
that was hate. I think Rob Reiner took what he says about Trump was hate.
Exactly.
I think they exude a lot of hate. I look at it, and as I told this one person that we had this conversation at Christmas, I said, I look at it from the way I mean, there's a lot of people that say bad things about us. I don't hate or a lot of things I say about other people. I don't hate them. What good is that going to do? But I will tell you the truth, and I will tell you what I think. And if I'm wrong, I'll be happy to apologize and correct it. But I'm like, I don't think it's hate. I don't think the stuff coming out of Trump is hate. I don't think he cares enough to hate. I just think he just says what he wants to say, and pretty much people agree with a lot of it. So
I was talking to somebody on Tuesday who is conservative.
are you speaking loudly for the camera?
but he doesn't like Donald's rhetoric. And I agree with him on that. But the thing that I pointed out to him was that you have to look at his entire the whole portfolio of what he says and does. You just can't cherry pick one thing that he said.
Like I've stopped looking at porn.
I'm going to kick him out.
Just, you don't know any videos you say.
Yes.
So,
I'll get you later. It's the chemotherapy.
Greg, to your point, but it's kind of like the people who lift a single sentence out of the Bible totally out of context and misrepresent it.
Yes.
well, yeah, right. And
Yeah.
while technically they're correct, they've lost the context.
Right.
You got to look at Donald's life. For the longest time, he's been a generous person. He had a flat tire. His limousine had a flat tire, and his driver didn't know how to change the tire. Like some guy pulls up and changes the tire. He asks, "Well, what can I do for you?" Nothing, man. You know what? Send my wife flowers because I don't have enough money to send flowers to her.
Oh,
So he sends flowers to the wife and pays off the mortgage. Okay, so, you know.
I thought you were gonna say, bought her flowers for her.
They paid the mortgage off.
He
I mean,
paid the mortgage off.
Yeah.
And this is not an isolated incident. So
Yeah.
you want to isolate, yes, he's used language that you wouldn't use or you don't particularly like. I understand that. But don't just pick that, cherry pick that. Look at the whole portfolio of the man in front of you.
Yes, we didn't elect our pastor.
That's right.
Exactly.
We elected him as an outsider businessman. Right.
And it's also, the thing that's really screwy about that is that people take too much of what the words coming out of their mouth is as being a measurement of their character when really it has nothing to do because everybody at the table, everybody on the street has said something inappropriate one time or another.
Correct.
So don't sit there and tell me that you sit there and criticize somebody for what they say that you haven't said it yourself or said something worse.
That's an indication that we don't look at ourselves and see the sin in ourselves. We want to look at the other person.
Yep.
First, take the log out of your own eye
Before you take it.
before you even think about taking the speck out of the other person's eye.
That's right.
That doesn't mean you can't take the speck out of the other person's eye. Just remember that you're a sinner as well.
Exactly.
That kind of actually segues into that gentleman. It's kind of interesting. Someone who's helping with the Rock Woman campaign. He actually is one of those folks that goes out there holier than thou, Mr. Radical Christian guy. And he actually, I was just presented with information recently that's like rap sheets long of, how long, 20 years worth of a pattern of multiple DUIs, family court issues, hardcore ones, drug possession. And it's like,
and it was hit and runs too.
They
Like,
hit and
you
run.
hit a car and then you leave.
and they're out there like in the political
2019.
landscape locally, okay, and they're like telling you that you're evil if you out someone or say anything against anyone. It's really, the hypocrisy is real.
Well, it is real. And we all need to hold ourselves accountable and be willing to answer questions. I answered questions about a 2008 bank transaction I was involved in, and it seems to never end. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm okay answering and talking about it. But if you bring up one thing about this person that Pam was talking about, then, oh my gosh, you're horrible. That's in the past. I bring up the 2021 rework fraud
Oh, yeah.
right here. They're like, oh, you need to drop that. That's so far in the past. I'm like,
No,
what?
in fact, one of their three of their things were from 2019 to 22. That's not the past. And it's it'd be different if it was an incident or two. We're talking over 20 years, multiple, like 7.
Yeah, that's a pattern.
So that's not okay.
Well, it's like Terry was asking me. And I said there, we were talking about my wife, it's my third marriage. Because they're going to bring that up. I said, yeah, bring it up. My first wife was murdered. My second wife died of complications for surgery. I got nothing to hide. What the heck? Go ahead.
But somebody will just find out that you've been married 3 times.
Yeah,
And
bring it up. Come on. Bring it up. Bring it up.
You should have said that.
He just did.
I just did.
But if they were divorced, see, that's
Yeah,
divorced.
I guess the issue would be if it was, not more of a private citizen, but someone who's out there who runs campaigns, someone who's out there and presenting themselves to be this upstanding, right? And no room for anything or anyone else. And they're out there presenting themselves totally different. That's not okay.
And these people were involved in the 23
Coup.
coup
I have
stealing,
a
all that.
comment for Jeff.
Yes.
At least clean the desk before you go live to make yourself look somewhat presentable.
Oh.
Of people going after people.
At least clean the desk. Okay, that's Trent Larkins. What is he talking about? What's on the desk?
My minutes, my banana bread.
My homemade
And
delicious banana bread.
And I just
Kleenex.
said it for what we're just talking about people picking on others.
But we can always hire him. Hey.
Well, what we need to do is, and I don't know exactly Trent Larkins, who he really truly is. I think he is he's here in Greenville. I think he works with Adam Morgan. I think he was on Adam's Morgan campaign. And if I'm not mistaken, and I'll look it up and maybe we'll put out an article about it. His parents were involved in the reorg fraud of 2021. They harvested ballots. So, because I know the Larkin name and I saw something about it recently. So thanks, Trent. We're glad you're here and we'll be happy to share who you might be. So, but what does that even mean? At least clean the desk before you go live to make yourselves look somewhat presentable. Maybe he's talking about the big desk out here. But guess what? We are a working party as opposed to a talking party. And we are going to.
It's an unspecific comment that doesn't mean
but it's the hypocrisy thing
It
too. I mean, that's right.
Right in.
He actually got people in the 21 reorg because Adam Morgan participated in it.
Right.
Adam Morgan was out there door knocking, getting people cheating between the reorg and the makeup day and incorporating all that stuff. So, I mean, he's out there. This is why Adam Morgan is not the
It's
Congress.
ballot
He's not in the U.S. Congress today because he participated in the reorg fraud of 21 and he hasn't changed or done anything differently. So,
And he had people doing it with him.
right. And Trent, obviously, probably my assumption would be, and it's recorded here, is he probably got his parents to sign up. And
So in
participate.
other words, they can instigate a coup, but clean your desk.
Right.
Okay.
You can violate state law, interfere with elections,
Make sure-
and all that kind of
Make sure
stuff.
things clean.
But we got to make sure we got a clean desk. Well, you need to make sure you have actually a
Get
clean
your
portfolio
priorities straight.
of what you do. So
Get your Larkin.
we will look into that a little bit more. So, what else?
I think while we're on the subject of hatred, a good post that David Pasco had this week on why he left the Democratic Party, he talks about evil and how now the far left Democrats, they represent evil. They represent hardened criminals, violent, illegal aliens. It was so well put. And I gotta say, when he spoke at Coffee and Politics, I wasn't convinced that I would support him because he had been a Democrat. But this is his post, and everyone, if you have a chance to read it today, it's really well put. And so I'm a few steps closer to supporting him now. So just wanted to let everyone know of that post.
Listen, you have
Megan is very careful.
And
Megan,
David's asshole.
Pasco.
she's close.
She's coming around. She's coming around.
when he wins her, I think he wins the election.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
He reads Megan, he's got to say.
And that is the way, because
Yes.
just this week, we have had volunteers before New Year's calling our ECs, reminding them about New Year as well. And I was given updates about these calls, and one of our ECs complained to our volunteers about Pasco. So our volunteers calls me and reports whether we need to address it. And all I said, this is what the meeting is about. I am 99% sure that that specific EC has never asked Pasco a question the way you did, or heard him even speak live or right. But they had all these comments to, not all these, had concerns to our volunteer, why is Pasco speaking? And I'm like, well, why don't you come and ask questions? And then if you don't want to support him, you can still vote for the person you want to vote.
So are we gonna, is he gonna really speak anywhere?
Yes.
At the meeting?
He's going to speak on the 12th.
Okay, because I got somebody, a friend of mine, who was wanting to come here, Canada. So it'd be a good time. for
Yes.
Oh, I think it's an excellent time. We're going to have Mike Burkhold, who's
Yes.
the comptroller, who's going to speak first. We originally wanted Mike and Curtis Loftus. We didn't get things got mixed up with Curtis. He's going to speak at our April meeting. But so we got Mike, and then we got David Pasco. And Pasco is going to talk about and bring up some new things. They did I guess, I don't remember what Senate committee, but they
He did ask to be there.
yes,
He wasn't invited, he was asked.
to come to our meeting.
He asked.
Yeah.
us.
Yes, yeah.
That is my point.
Yeah.
He didn't invite us.
I mean,
Yeah,
Pasco got nothing
Yeah,
behind
he said, where's,
Yeah.
yeah, I had it out.
We're-
well, because I think he wants to bring out some things that were not discussed in the Senate meeting about Alan Wilson and some things like that. So I think it's going to be a very popular
Monday.
presentation, and I think you'll hear more exciting things. So, but what I also find really interesting is the Somalia thing. We're seeing all that,
Yeah.
and to sit there and see, those are things people knew. This one guy that Nick Shirley guy, whatever, that was interviewing,
Yeah.
the dude that was bringing with him, he's been trying to get somebody to hear this for a while. They've thrown up a tape in 2017 or 2018 where some internal guy was testifying about there's $100 million worth of fraud. You can't get anybody to listen. And I'm like looking at some of the things we've been pounding the table about. None of them will listen. I've sent now 3 letters,
Yes.
maybe just 2, but maybe the third one, to the U.S. attorney for the state of South Carolina, Trump appointed, about Dr. Dan Nichols stealing mail from its opponent out of somebody's mailbox. We have it on video. What more do you need? And that's why I feel the frustration of these people. What do you need? But Pasco's thing is this public corruption unit that are going to investigate whistleblower things and things that they can find. And I'm like, when he came and spoke up in Spartanburg to the American First Group over there last month, a couple of weeks ago, I mean, people were just throwing more things out there. You don't know if they're all accurate, right? So you got to research them. But I think it was even starting to overwhelm him. I don't think David Pasco truly knows how much bad stuff is out there.
He's finding out.
We see it. We see a lot of it.
Mark, the question I have then is you have this on video of him going and taking mail.
Yes.
Did you contact the postal
We
inspector?
have gone that route too, and they're even less concerned.
Even though they're on TV,
One would think.
crazy late talking about people stealing mail.
Troy, that was posted.
We posted it. We wrote an article. We sent it out there. Fitz News wrote an article about it. I mean, it got all over the place. But
That's a federal offense.
Yes.
Yeah.
and he's I called.
Postal inspectors don't need just for your U.S. attorneys to handle it. They can handle it internally in their own. They have their own system.
We've tried. David worked for the Postal Service here, and he was the one pushing it in that direction. I didn't go to the postal
They wouldn't do
myself.
it. I figured because it didn't fit into their worry.
And don't give me this. I got bigger fish to fry. What's a bigger fish than a politician or a candidate stealing mail? I mean, for those of us that all went to the
That's what they're harping on that. But people say we just stole it in their identity. So right, it's no different than a politician going in and taking somebody else's mail.
well, I
It
mean,
depends on who it is.
Yeah, they're going through their house.
It's the crony system.
well, and that's what my feeling is with this. He is getting off, number one, because it was Jason Elliott. It's a Jason Elliott mailer that he stole and stuck it in his pocket. We got video of it. It was funny that he was talking to, because it was on the ring camera, he was talking to the elector, the homeowner, and he was sitting there saying, we don't need more lawyer legislators. And then guess who he endorses in the runoff? The lawyer legislator. Yes. Now, who's going to protect him? Who would you assume could probably protect him? That same lawyer legislator. So I mean, it gets even worse if you kind of think it through that, did he endorse the lawyer legislator who could help protect him from this, who could probably call the U.S. attorney and sit there and say, I'm an elected Republican state senator out of Greenville. Don't go after this guy. These are just bad actors.
Yeah.
Chairman of the Greenville GOP is a bad actor. Yeah. And but I'm like, there's something deep that is more. That to me is worse than somebody random person stealing mail out of my mailbox, trying to steal my identity. This is somebody who wants to make political or governmental or leadership decisions about what happens to all of South Carolina, and then you're just letting them off, and then other people are protecting them. So that's what it's got to get.
Before we move in, I put on the screen the meeting. to
You
remind
put on the screen the harvested ballot from the Larkins. No.
The hot facts are
Oh, I'm going to look it up. There was something I was looking up the other day that I came across it. So.
Okay, can you just remind everyone about the meeting before we move on?
Yes, the big thing is the 12th. So the meeting is going to be we're going to start a little early because we got these speakers. Credentialing will start at 5:15. The meeting will start at 6. Mike Burkhold will go first, and then we'll have we got to do the formalities, the pledge, prayer, creed. It'll be at the Hughes Main Library downtown. So come, be ready to ask questions.
If you ever look for information about events, it's greenvillegop.com. And you go to the events section or /events. And it's all up.
So, but I think it's going to be a great meeting. I think press will be there for some things. It's the 12th, so that's the day before the legislature goes in, the 13th. So my expectation is Pasco will say some things they'll all be gossiping, talking about at the State House on the 13th. So, come hear it live and yourself.
You hear it first.
Yeah. So,
I mean, our choices, look at the folks running for that position. And he has shown us how he gets, in the trenches and he fights against corruption. I personally have experienced this. He was very instrumental in dealing with a lot of the things that happened in Lexington and exposing it all and working with, myself and SLED and others. And so he has shown himself to be a freedom fighter. And the others running against him have like freedom index scores in their 30s. In their 30s, are voting with scores in their 30s, worse than Democrats. And on the other side, one of the people running have a Fitz news story out there about Lawrence County cops and how they covered up their domestic violence issues. That's not good. So why would we even entertain anyone but David Pasco?
well, there's three candidates, and one is a state senator who's never prosecuted a case. Prosecuted as a prosecutor.
Yeah.
And the other one is David Stumbo out of the Greenwood area, who has never prosecuted a death penalty case, which I think is a big deal. And he's the one who gave Craig Caldwell the deal. Her predecessor as Lexington County GOP chair, when Pamela took him out in 2023, reorg, April 23, he was embezzling money. And he got indicted for embezzling over $100,000 from the Lexington County GOP and the Rotary Club, if I'm not mistaken. I can assure you nothing would have happened to that guy but for the efforts of David Pasco. Number one, her efforts of finding it and tracking it down and getting the records and looking at it and saying, why is there money going from the Lexington GOP to the Georgia Title Tax Company?
A simple search for a gala event and what costs were for that event led to all these other things, right? And Pasco just jumped right in and, wanted to get SLED involved and talk to me and ask me about it. And then it went from there. But the point is, he's a good man. And he has been pro-life since he was at Citadel in the Republican Club. A lot of people don't know that about him. He was kind of on the outside of being a Democrat. They didn't support him because he was pro-life, And so people need to, look at him a second time and give him a chance because he has proven himself. And look at the others running against him. It's a joke.
Well, and what frustrates me with number one, we would not have gotten an indictment of Craig Caldwell, but for the efforts of Pasco. Number one, it was not prosecuted in their judicial district because Craig Caldwell was friends with the solicitor
there.
He was chairman of the party,
who just happened to nominate the guy who was running against me at Atwater. And by the way, you find out later that not only did he nominate Atwater, who was running against me, he was his brother-in-law.
Yes. So it's very incestuous all over the place. And there's a lot of that's a real part of the problem here in South Carolina. That's part of the good old boy system. But so the case got handed over to David Stumbo to handle because he was allegedly independent. Well, Stumbo lets him off on time served. Well, the time's 24 months, 30 months of I guess probation. But then the only arrest time was the 4 hours, I guess, when they indicted him.
He was waiting on his attorney.
Waiting on his attorney to get him out of jail. And I'm like, that's enough for $100,000? And we talked about it here. I'm like, well, where would I be if I had embezzled $100,000?
Oh, and to add to that,
If I embezzled $10. We got people saying, you're right. You're right. And we actually have people come to the meeting and
Yes.
freak out about what is this $35
Oh,
we're paying to some company in London for our web hosting.
well, I also found out about a week ago, one of the government officials in Lexington told me, they're like, hey, you know, I've been seeing a lot of lately. I'm like, who? And it happened to be the former chair coming into the courthouse. And I'm like, why are you seeing them a lot? They're like, oh, they are recording deeds. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah, for the trust company. And they're still doing trusts and estates with elderly. And I'm just blown away.
Again, they have some sort of financial planning business or trust company or something down there in Lexington. And I'm kind of like, how do you
How
stay in
does that
business?
work?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's a very strange thing, but it's typical here in South Carolina. And I've noticed everybody's putting out these memes. They want, it's 26. We're coming to the end of 26. Where's the purple bulk of the politicians? Who are the politicians that have been arrested? And I'm like, yeah, they kind of got a point, But where's the arrest of Craig Hall? Where's the arrest of some of these other people? So,
It's all quiet. They keep it quiet.
yes.
And then they remove it.
Right.
And it's not okay. It wouldn't be for everyone in here. It's different rules.
Right. And that's what, and I haven't talked to Pastor about this, but I mean, he's really laying himself out there with his public corruption unit. He is going to have to perform. I mean, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But guess what? If we get no prosecutions and no things, people are going to be upset. Now, I don't think that's going to be the case.
No.
I think he's got things he wants to do day one.
And he's going to include citizens in helping with it.
So, I mean, we all got excited about those promises coming out of the national stuff. And I understand there's a lot of whatever they have to deal with and planning and all that kind of stuff. But people are frustrated and they want to see things. So,
Yeah, it's just like with Pam Bondi.
right. So I'm going to have to warn Pasco. He's going to have to deliver, because we're all wanting that type of stuff. So,
But just like with
at least, yes,
With his history, I believe he's aware of it.
and he's done it before. It's not like I don't think I've seen Pam Bondi arresting politicians before. Maybe she has. I don't know if guys can tell those kind of guys have done it. He's done it, so I think he's ready to hit the ground
In
running.
defense of Pam Bondi, she's the administrator of a organization that has been corrupted for decades.
She's got to clean a lot of the
She was supposed to come in and change that.
But if you've got layers and layers and layers below you
that are interfering.
and you can't get people
To replace
to
that.
move, which is what
And that
the Senate's doing. They're preventing this from happening. It becomes difficult.
So we need her to name names. Who's stopping this?
Correct.
Right?
She needs to name names. DJT needs to name
That's
names.
right.
And he should go after Thune and say, I'm sorry, baby, you either stop cutting bait. It's time to fish.
TikTok.
I think that's the whole deal with him putting it out there about doing it with filibusters to put the pressure on Thune to finally get him off his butt and do something. Because everybody knows that the Republicans in the Senate have been saying the same things. That, well, if we do away with filibuster, the Democrats do it as soon as they get it.
But they've
done it already, because they did it when Hillary wasn't going to chair the.
Right. He took away the filibuster with judges.
Hey, he also did, but I'm talking about Harry Reid did it to get Obamacare across the finish line too. And that was major legislation. He did away with it. So to say that the Democrats are not going to do it, you were delusional if you think that that's not what's going to happen as soon as they get in charge. As soon as they get their hands, they get that 51st seat, they're going to turn around and do away with filibuster.
And then reinstated after they're going out.
They'll reinstate it right before the election. They hope we're going to reinstate this.
Listen, like with her being hard, we can't play nice. It's over.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't get it in, and if you saw Steve Bannon's speech at the end of at TPUSA's AmeriFest or whatnot, AmFest, he he said, if we lose in 2026, they're going to come after us
Oh, yeah.
with a vengeance.
Oh, they will.
They'll get rid of the filibuster. They'll do all this stuff. They'll reverse everything, and they'll probably start. They got no problem walking us. I don't think so. I mean, it's going to be all over.
And I think that's where it gets real. People are sick of that. They're sick of how J6ers were immediately arrested and they've been in prison, right? And all this dragged out, right? No due process. But then you've got all these things ready and people that should be, and they're not. Right? So this is the problem.
We got to do something news on it. Like, so we had a riot here. You got all these people on camera rioting. Why are you not arresting them? Why are they still walking the street?
Right.
So I would take those videotapes and just like they did with the J6ers, they spent a ton of time going over all those videotapes and hunting those people down. And why aren't they doing that with other rioters? Where it's much easier to tell that they're committing a crime, than what the J6ers were doing.
Or how about the congressmen? How about all the money? They started out with this much money and now they're multimillionaires. Well, where did that money come from? And can we track that money in their accounts? And if they can't track it, we'll return it. We're tired of you taking the money, and we the people. And we know it's a big scam. We do. Yes, Craig.
They're all involved. The problem is they're all involved. That's when they're all hiding.
That's the problem.
That's right.
It starts with foreign aid,
Which is dried up. That's why
it hasn't fully dried up. Troy. That's the problem.
There's so much money there. Trillions,
Correct.
That's a
And that's where you want to balance the
that's a
budget.
big number.
Oh, yeah.
Just finding where in the U.S. Constitution it says that we can give U.S. taxpayer money to foreign entities. It doesn't. It's unconstitutional. That shouldn't cut off. That alone would help us.
That's where the Supreme Court's not doing their job, because their job is to maintain that constitutionality of anything Congress or the president does. If they do something that is outside constitutional rights, they are step in and say, this is unconstitutional. You cannot do this.
Somebody's got.
It doesn't matter what it is. If it's a law they act, if it's the aid they want to give somebody, anything that's unconstitutional, their job, that is the only reason the Supreme Court exists, is to make sure that the federal government follows the Constitution.
But somebody's got to bring it up.
It has to work its way up there.
But that's the problem is it's so busy.
Remember,
The Supreme Court is so backed up with garbage, it has absolutely nothing to do with it.
attorneys is a management group, so they don't sue each other. You never see attorneys sue other attorneys. So it's really just giant management. So that's part of the problem is they're afraid they don't sue one another. It's an association, just control management.
Somebody like me,
I've sued other attorneys.
Go to an attorney and
I
say,
mean,
Well, you sue everybody, so.
You're an exception.
Yeah.
You're an exception to the rule.
unless you got a bunch of money to give to your local attorney to go file suit, whatever it is.
In order to get
So a normal everyday citizen cannot file a complaint against the federal government because we don't have the kind of money we need to find a lawyer that's willing to do it because we don't have the funds to do it.
Well, and I'll bring this up because this is something I've been working on for a while, and we have now a new, well, it's been a year plus, but a new Chief Justice for the state Supreme Court, Chief Justice Kittredge, who's actually from here in Greenville. Actually has an office up here in Greenville at the courthouse downtown. I am a licensed attorney. I went to law school here, but I took the bar before I graduated and was able to take the South Carolina bar. I took it in Georgia 6 months early and passed. And I was like, I'm out. I'm done. I got a job, the next day, working in January. I wasn't coming back here in January or June or July to take the bar exam in South Carolina while I was already had my job in there and working. So I never took the South Carolina bar. I, as a licensed attorney in the state of Georgia, can go to 40 other states in the District of Columbia and sign up to practice law there. I can go to North Carolina and practice law. I can sign up, pay $2,000 fee or whatever, and practice law in North Carolina as a North Carolina attorney. I cannot do that in the state of South Carolina. South Carolina, and it's called reciprocity. Right. South Carolina has reciprocity with nobody. So you're talking about protectionism. So you have to go to school here, or if I'm a retired lawyer and I move to South Carolina, or I move in my 40s or 50s or 60s, whatever, you got to take the bar exam.
So what other state does that?
I don't know how many other states there are that, but it's very few. I would say all the 40 that there's probably at least 40 of them doing it all over the place. So, because that generally, if you give reciprocity to them, they give reciprocity back to you. So I would say 40 of them are probably full on reciprocity, and there's probably 10 of them that are out there. But I mean, South Carolina's reciprocity, nobody. So last year, or actually 2024, I wrote a letter to the Chief Justice saying, hey, we should consider this in the state of South Carolina. Just a simple thing, reciprocity with Georgia and North Carolina.
And
Start there.
not that we need to start practicing law. We have no time for that. That's part of.
It would be nice to help some people do.
Each other, right? Because imagine if new lawyers were coming in.
Or if
from another
or
state.
attorney from another state or two come and file suit for somebody in this.
Or they retire here, and we've had people walk in the door that are retired lawyers that move here. They would probably be willing to do some pro bono work. They'd probably be willing to sign up and be a lawyer in the state of South Carolina to be able to do those types of things. But they're not taking the bar exam again. I can't talk them into that. They're like, I don't know about that. I don't know if I really want to do that. So, but
It's just the principle, it's wrong. That's
It is.
another part of the corruption, I believe here, that they're protecting each other.
Of course.
Look who's the principal people, like we said, it's the lawyer legislators in Columbia that are blocking it because they're protecting themselves and their entities that are associated with that.
Well, let me finish a little bit of the story. To Justice Kittredge's credit, he actually wrote a letter, CC'd me, and sent it to the State Bar Association asking them to comment. Now, the Supreme Court makes all the decisions. I wasn't sure if it was, do we need, and I need to figure it out. I didn't know if it had to be something, a piece of legislation at the State House, or the Supreme Court decides what to do, or the State Bar Association, but it's the Supreme Court. Those 5 justices can make the decision to change the bar to allow reciprocity, which will be very interesting. He wrote a letter to the ABA, not the ABA, but the State Bar Association, maybe a month after he got my letter. And I was like, this is asking them to create a task force or give comment or whatnot. I've had one, I contacted them probably in April, State Bar, to see if they were doing anything. They did respond that they were setting up a task force or something to do. Ever since then, nothing. I mean, it's been over a year. So now I've got to follow up with the Chief Justice and say, hey, if these guys aren't even going to give you the due respect of responding, maybe they're working on something, maybe they're not. Maybe it's a setup. He's like, I'm just going to pass it on this guy, but, we're not changing anything. I don't know. I can't hypothesize that. I'm surprised he sent a letter. But I'm like, we need reciprocity in this state. Because if you bring in outside lawyers, they're not going to be part of the good old system. No. They're going to sit there and say, yeah, that's wrong. We can't do that. And you're going to start marching in the streets with pitchforks and say, this is not right. Because the things that I have seen and experienced are substantially not right. Mm-hmm. I will tell you, and the example is our audit of Olga, myself, and the nonprofit back in 2014. It was asked for by the director of the Department of Revenue, who had been working before he became the director in his private career with the people that were opposing us on school choice. Of course. So interesting, he asked for the audit of us, when his client was, had an interest in it, or his former client. We got audited, and then I, of course, sent a FOIA request for the documents because I knew something was fishy with this whole thing. We got the whole thing up. In those FOIA documents, I found where they were making sexual comments about my wife. So that made the front page of the newspaper. So, of course. So, I get a meeting with the director of the Department of Revenue, which at that meeting, he promises to give us an independent review of our audit to make sure we were treated fairly. Guess who? And he personally picked the CPA to do the independent review. Now, he's a lawyer. The director of the Department of Revenue is a lawyer. He picks a CPA who is the board chairman of our biggest political opponent in this state.
course.
Literally the most conflicted human being on the planet. You know, and I didn't know who the guy was. And then we get the report back, and the report has all this stuff. And I'm like, this is insane. The guy that did the report never contacted us, never talked to us. He just said, "Oh, everything they said is right." And all this, you know, these people did all the bad stuff. I'm like, it's literally incredible. Now, I filed a bar complaint against the Director of the Department of Revenue, and it goes to the State Supreme Court. The Office of Disciplinary Counsel went zero, went nowhere.
Yep.
I filed a complaint with the CPA people here and with the National CPA Association, went nowhere. I'm like, how many strings do people have to pull to keep those guys out of it? When you're a lawyer or a CPA, and I got to do both of these things, you got to do continuing legal education or continuing professional education, CPEs. Part of that, a percentage, is going to be ethics. So for 30 years, I've been taking these ethics classes, CPA and lawyer ethics, you know, and I'm like, none of this fits. This is exactly the examples they give of people that get disbarred. I know people that have been disbarred for $500 issues, you know, all kinds of weird stuff, you know, on their expense reports or their bill, you know, client billings.
Remember,
and I'm like,
the ethics in the state is controlled by who? State House.
State House, yes.
Saying you have Fox's Garden Hen House.
Right. Office of Disciplinary Counsels under the state Supreme Court picked by the lawyer legislators. The whatever the CPA group or what it's out of LRI. I think it's LRI. Whatever the group is, they're controlled by the legislature. And I'm like, you know, even when I talked to the lady at the CPA place here, you know, she was, I mean, she knew all this other stuff that was unrelated, started attacking me. You know, so you put CPA behind your name. That's why I put CPA and then in parentheses GA next to it now, because I'm like, oh my God, these people are going to come after me for making a complaint. Because, you know, now I got a big disclaimer and all that kind of stuff.
Didn't she retire soon after?
She retired within like a couple of weeks.
When you kind of hit back,
Right.
While you're coming after me.
I'm like, I mean, she's been there 30 years. And I'm like, you know,
Well, the malfeasance is overt. The behavior is overt. I mean, look at our friend Donna, who's been in lawfare for years now with SCGOP, right? Just in your face, just been horrible to her, right? And she wouldn't be having the success that she's had if she didn't have sons as attorneys.
Right.
I mean, they're family, and so they're representing her, you know, they're fantastic. But not everybody has that opportunity. People want to go up against, you know, these
if we had reciprocity and we had some of these retired lawyers that are willing to sign up, that's why I didn't mind doing it. I'll do it just to represent, you know, what we should. Because you know, you can't
take on a lot.
So it's very interesting. Which brings up another thing, because I did talking about lawsuits and suing the SCGOP or vice versa, or whatnot, lawfare with those guys. That John Anthony something, the guy that we won't close primaries, right?
Yeah.
There was put out a closed primary issue that Texas has now filed a lawsuit about it. We had the same lawsuit in South Carolina from 2010 to 2013. We were about to win it because a similar lawsuit had gone on and been completed in Virginia, where they won. We had the same stacked scenario here in South Carolina, so we could have won it. The state party was one of the plaintiffs, and Greenville County GOP was the second plaintiff. That's right. Chad Conley, as we all know, he's kind of the shadow. He's a former SCGOP chair. He's kind of the shadow chair now, pulling the strings of Drew McKissick. Chad Conley took out the SCGOP from the lawsuit in June of 2013. And it got dismissed later that fall, a couple months later, because the federal judge said Greenville GOP did not have standing because we are only one county. We needed the whole state. So since the state party pulled out the case, the case partially,
especially in the largest county.
Yeah, but that's how they dropped the case. So a lot of people, we would have closed primaries today.
Hey, what happened after that?
Right after.
Right after Chad Conley took him out in June of 2013, he resigned his position as chairman and took a big job at the RNC running faith-based operations for the entire country.
Andrew McKissick.
And Drew McKissick took a job running one of the regions, probably the Southeast or whatever. So like, you know, these guys, that is why we do not have closed primaries in the state today. Now, Texas is doing theirs. They got a different case. What is Drew now saying?
Oh, I might join this.
We may join that case.
PSYOP.
And Drew's been in his position for how long?
Since 2017.
So
May of
it's
2017.
3 and 5, 8 years.
Yeah.
Like, oh, really now? Drew?
Well, it's funny because when you hear him talking, he gets asked that question. What's up to the legislators to do?
Oh,
It's not. He can, I mean, we have the ability within the state executive committee to pick. I mean, the libertarians pick their candidates by convention.
Yep.
Guess what? Because they elected to do it. It's in state law today. You don't have to change anything. The SCGOP, State Executive Committee, could vote to pick our candidates by convention. Yeah, we could do it. Greenville County would pick all of our internal Greenville County politicians, our nominees. Statewide or multi-state, I think they have to do it through a state convention. But we would do a recall convention for Greenville County to nominate, for nominations, and the delegates to the Greenville County Convention would participate in that and pick who our nominees are.
but then it would end their tyranny, the mafia control over we the people. Right.
But it would also, to me, it would get more people involved in reorg in the party.
I think that one of the things we have a problem in this state is we have no power once our elected officials go to work. Once they go there, we have to wait till their turn before we get voted against them. We are one of the few states in the union that does not have a clause in its constitution to recall it.
That's
In
right.
the event that they are not doing what they should be doing based on what we feel they should be doing.
We're one out
That's
of
why
11.
Lindsey Graham gets away with the stuff he gets away with. Because if it existed, Lindsey would have been recalled a long time ago.
Mhm.
Chris had a question.
Yeah, just quickly, how is that a federal lawsuit? The Texas lawsuit, it said federal.
In the one here in South Carolina was in federal
I
court
thought it
too.
was a state control issue.
I don't know why they're taking it to the federal court. I think probably why they're going to the federal court is it's a First Amendment association issue, freedom of assembly. We're all Republicans, right? We have people who are not part of our group that are interfering with our elections by coming and voting in our primaries. So I think it's a First Amendment issue. That's how you cannot actually fight it. So I think that's how it is. So I mean and a lot of people. It was a little bit of a secret, but we'll let it out there. But I mean that's how you can do it. So but I mean that's where the history comes in. And everybody's like, no, we don't really want to. Don't look at anything in the past. Drew's now saying good things.
Like,
We're gonna join this
Don't
case
look over here.
in
Don't look at
26.
what I did in the past. Look at what I'm doing in the future. And that's basically the way Lindsey is playing his for all these years. It's just, don't look at what I did the first 2 years. Don't look at what I did the third, fourth year. Look at what I've done the last 2 years. That's the way he plays.
I actually was reading yesterday in an online chat, and I was in like Republicans that we know that are supposedly, in our movement, and they're talking about, and Drew's thinking of doing this. Oh, wonderful. And I'm like, you're like, please. Did you forget? Did you forget? Do you not know? Because you do, but you're choosing to look the other way. You're choosing to bury your head in the sand. And it's sad because they're a nice person, but they're delusional.
And I think if they still were serious about it, if Drew stood up today and said we're closing the primary, first week of session, whatever, let's take it. I mean, let make him do it. But again, he's been in office for 8 years. And now he's getting the idea that will not go into fruition for another, I'm not saying for now them not to do it. Let's use them for.
The problem is it'll affect Drew's ability to maintain his position.
To control us.
To control the state, because if you close the primaries, because it's a known fact that Democrats show up in our stuff all the time. There are people that come in. I've seen this in our EC meetings where you get some of the people get up there and they're just talking about stuff so far off track of what we're doing, just to cause chaos.
And when you can cause chaos in just a simple EC meeting, that causes chaos in the entire party when it comes down to it.
Keep in mind, though, that closing the primaries doesn't mean that we won't have Democrats registering as Republicans.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to stop that, but it will stop them from voting now one way and turn around and come in and vote differently in the next time go around. Because the way the way it is, the way most of the wording has been for closed primaries, if you read any of them that are worth a damn, it all says the same thing. You have a set amount of time before the primary to register in the party.
Correct.
Then once you register the party, you have to stay in that registration for a year.
I don't know what other states do. I mean, but yeah, people will flip flop back and forth.
So you got to make sure you nail it down a little bit harder where they can't go back and forth.
Right. And the parties have to enforce their own rules, saying that if you have not been a party member for X amount of time, you cannot serve as any officer.
Yeah.
Unless you do that, it's the convention process theoretically is a little bit more secure because we will vet our delegates to our convention, whether it be the county convention or the 4th district convention or the state convention.
Yep.
So the reality there is that's going to be a little bit better, but that means you have to have people really dedicated to doing that. And they're going to argue, well, you're not getting all of the people in that geographic area being able to choose their representatives. But that's the argument that's going to be brought against that.
But then
Because you want everybody to vote. All in the name of voting, you got to let everybody vote, and I agree with you. That's the premise behind it. We ran the same problem in Virginia, but we had the conventions, but the party was GOP, and so they've lost people in. One of the counties used public transportation and had 7 busloads of people come in just to vote for that particular candidate who they wanted.
So y'all did conventions in Virginia.
Well, we had all
There's a hybrid
we had 3 choices until last year, and then the state GOP changed it, so now it's got to be state-run elections. Okay, but before that, so 2 years ago, or now I guess 4 years ago, we had a convention, and then they brought people in that way and stuff. And so, but and then they didn't like because we had a party like this. We had a group. We had our chair, but they didn't. They ended up picking her out. It's a whole different story. But, there's it's tough even on the convention side.
Correct.
Okay?
Now,
because you have the control of the party. Okay, because if you don't, party will block you out. The committees and who counts and votes and all those different issues and stuff. So you have to be careful. Conventions are
so
there's no perfect solution, and
Yes, sir.
what may work today may not work tomorrow because they figured it out. So
and what we need to do is to increase the voter turnout in the primaries from 5% to 25%,
Right, with like
even
7%.
25%.
Oh, and,
Yes. Right, and
They had 7%.
Not the
that's
general, that was a special election.
Special election.
We need to
Still
get,
counts.
we need to get voters activated so that they'll come out to the primaries. Most people don't understand how important
They
primaries are.
You know what's bad is you sit there and you talk with people out the street and they complain.
Yep.
Especially when you find out you're EC and you're voting for and they start complaining. And then I'm like, who'd you vote for last time? I didn't vote. What are you complaining? You got those,
Take their
you got
name.
those things on.
Take their name, and we got to get these people out to the primaries.
Or better yet, I'm not a registered voter.
Yeah, that's even a better one. I'm not a registered voter.
Speaking of elections, does this group endorse a particular candidate for the primaries? Like, for example, for the governor, or is this group going to endorse Nancy Mace? Or I'm just giving an example.
Some of them are very clear for us, and it's easy to get out there and say this is who we're supporting and put on a voter guide.
Okay.
Sometimes it's
A little harder.
It's a little harder. Now, I don't like forcing down people's throat what we're going to do. I'd rather talk it out, get consensus, and build it that way. How do we Do we officially endorse? Not really. Will we do a voter guide? Yes. Will we sometimes say either one of these candidates? Will we poll the ECs or the body to kind of figure out what they're comfortable with? I mean, we have one person that's looked at, we could do a recall convention to endorse. There's ways to do that. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of stuff. So, I'm open to whatever we need to do. But I do think we have a bully pulpit where we can let people know that, because we can't really do anything else except get out there and say, this is who we, the people that are involved as much as possible, do support, and put a big sign out there and send text messages, send letters, do all that kind of stuff. I think it will make a difference.
Back to the convention idea, the thing that we didn't feel like we had as many Democrats voting in ours, but it was, and we were very limited on the data sets, so it could be we didn't have enough information. Okay, so if you have good data, then you micro market to those individuals who score well and based upon their behaviors that they're a true Republican. Okay, and you do some micro marketing, data fusion to get to those groups and so forth. You build a strategy that way versus the convention and so on and so forth. So, but take this a little bit more work, but you have to do a true data analysis, because we had a hard time getting the data from the state GOP because they didn't want to give it to us. Okay? I love the data.
Do you think I get any data from the state party?
I'm talking out loud here. Yeah. I'm just saying that was, because I love crunching numbers in the data and coming up with some, formulas on how to communicate with those folks and so forth. But
it all starts with vetting your candidates.
Yes.
Someone recently made a comment about Curtis Steele being a grifter, and that's why Mamdani was elected and why Trump endorsed Trump. I lived in New York City pretty much my entire life. Curtis Steele I don't see him as a grifter. He's someone who got involved to help fighting crime.
He was the founder of the Guardian Angels.
Right. And was he going to be elected? Probably not, because it was bad in New York City yet.
But he ran in the last election.
He ran in the last election too. I know.
He got 27% of the vote. He was the Republican nominee.
The Republican Party gave him the nomination. Now, if they chose him, is it on them? We choose a candidate for a particular office and he doesn't win, we keep putting him up. Is that on us?
And that's a hard question, because I do a lot of campaigning, and sometimes they don't run good campaigns.
Right.
I got we had a former school superintendent who ran for school board who didn't win. She lost by 100 votes. Okay, but his door knocking strategy. Anyways.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it. It's complex. It's not just
there is. But we all have to be involved.
Yeah. And you have to you do your vetting questions. You have to have your vetting questions, and you got to see what how they respond to it, and
right,
make sure that they themselves are vetted in themselves, willing to spend their own money, so that they're willing to win. They can't stop out outside money. On a local campaign, they got to be able to give up their own money, because now that their skin is in the damn game. Okay, those are some issues that I thought we ran into. You want someone who's got skin in the game.
If we did have a candidate that we vetted him, thought it'd be fantastic. Asked the question about, are you willing to get out there and door knock? Oh, of course.
And he
didn't. No, this one I'm talking about didn't door knock, and so I could. I didn't say I would. Like, okay. Are we now into that semantics?
Yes.
So that's you find that out about something. But we did that. Gary Collins is who he's speaking about. That guy knocked on everybody's door. Everybody's door. I'm like, he knocked on 10,000 doors.
It's a big deal.
No, he got up there and knocked on 10,000 plus doors. It was like crazy. But it worked. And it worked for him. It worked for him big time. Who did he take out? Did he take out Butch?
Yeah.
Former chair? Yeah. So
He's good. Well, I'd like to address what Olga had mentioned about Drew. He had 8 years to take care of the close primaries. 8 years. He hasn't done anything
Yeah.
to do with that. And addressing what Megan has said, going back to you about the endorsements, something that's on my mind is thinking about Lexington and the current GOP endorsing 2 Senate races where their scores are, y'all, 20. Okay, from the Freedom Index under the Heritage Foundation, which basically bases everything on personal freedom, financial freedom, quality of life issues. And they've got one's got like a 20, one's in the 30s. I mean, wouldn't you be embarrassed?
Now, how did they endorse?
Oh my gosh.
Did they
Putting
vote?
out,
Did they vote on
putting
that?
out information, and that's a good
But did the
question.
ECs vote on it? Did
That's
they
a good
formally endorse
question.
it, or they just kind of
I don't know.
did it?
That's a
How
good
would you
question.
just, I mean, give us your input because you come from a different state, you've seen it. How would you like to see us do it? Should we endorse? Should we not? Number one, and if we do endorse, how?
Oh, and let me put in the one plug, Megan, just 1 minute.
Okay.
District 39, that's another separate deal. I believe it's Cal Forest. Really don't know him personally. I think he's in the 30s. Okay. Again, he was, when they're silent, that's endorsing because they supported during the convention and endorsed him as, chair, right? So they're rhino fest over there. But the thing is there's a wonderful grassroots Trump loving freedom fighter named Katie Hall, District 39, and they're giving her the silent treatment. Very interesting. So a lot of us on the grassroots level are kind of plugging in to help her get her out there. Again, Katie Hall, District 39, she would be in the 90 percentile in voting and higher. That's who she is. But the person in there now has in the 30s, and these people have to go. We have to call them out and say, are you a real conservative? Are you a freedom fighter? Do you stand for we the people? Are you a Republican? Because you sure don't vote like one.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
You want to fight
I'm
about
fired
insurance?
up about it. I'm over it. Right. So now, Megan, you can answer yes or no.
And I wasn't trying to give you a project. 'Cause she starts taking notes. I'm like, oh Lord, I've given her a whole project. But I mean, just generally, how would you feel? And you can do more recent,
Sure.
comment later too. But just
I would say no.
No, we
You
should not.
endorse
Okay.
because the Democrats, they're into groupthink, right? We are not into groupthink. We are independent thinkers. And I think you're going to really turn off some people who maybe are very passionate about a certain Republican. And we want everyone like in the GOP in this group to be active. But I do like the idea of having like a guide, but it's not a suggestion or
But is this for the primary or for this?
primary, for the primary. For the general, we support the Republican nominee, whoever it is. We have to.
Yeah.
Now, we don't necessarily have to go out and do extra stuff for them and all that kind of stuff, but we can't discourage. We can't say bad things about them. We can't say, oh,
Do
this
it right
person,
in.
this person who's our nominee got a 20 on the Freedom Index.
Right.
You ought to vote,
You're like
ought
20.
to vote for
That's
the
Right.
Libertarian candidate or something.
Yeah.
We can't do that in the park.
But you gotta really, you better educate the people. Like you say, okay, you don't endorse them, but you better go down, because the primary is like so important.
Primary is where it all
Each
happens.
person that you wanna vote for.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? I don't care.
And that's what
Yeah.
liberty's all about. You get the word out yourself. You take your individual self and go out and tell them why you like this candidate.
Yeah.
You get the primary.
And I hear you on us not perhaps shouldn't be doing it, but there's a lot of people that look at us and want us to tell them.
Yeah.
And even
It's,
with-
but that's a huge responsibility. And if we do tell them who to vote for, then we got to be very careful about it.
Yeah.
And we have to be very methodical about it and fair about it. Yes.
So that's exactly, I think, what we have been doing, because there's so many people, for whatever reason, either they're busy, they don't feel
Right.
like they can do the research themselves, or they're maybe lazy. I don't know, but they.
Or new.
Or
There's all kinds of.
Right. But they-
And he's always asking me about people. I'm like, this is what I think. Do your research for
that
this.
they trust our judgment and they look for that guidance. It doesn't mean they are just blindly following, but they want to know. And for that reason, we will have those guides.
Now, what you're talking about, the risk there is
Right.
number one, if we endorse somebody in a primary who doesn't make it, we've really offended the person who does, who
Yeah.
probably end up being the House rep or county council member or whatever. So there is that risk. There's the other risk that I think there'll be people within the group that support somebody else that then get very offended.
Yeah.
I can tell you who I like. We may support some, but I'm going with the consensus generally, and I'm not going to be upset if you don't like David Pasco because he used to be a Democrat. I'm not going to ostracize you because of it. But they will do it. They will do it in reverse. People will do it in reverse.
And I think the example was when we did not endorse, but we did support William Timmons versus Adam Morgan.
Yeah.
We explained it to the world why. That Adam Morgan basically would not work with us. We cannot be endorsing or supporting person who will be going against us. But so our group, there was a big number of people supporting William for the same reason. It was more actually of not supporting Adam than supporting William at some point because we had concerns about William in the past. I think he has gotten better and became more of a MAGA person since. But we have not, we've lost friends because of that, because of the people turning against us for not supporting Adam. I have not turned away from our people that supported Adam against William, because it's always their choice. And me coming from the country when the first three elections were in 91, I will never make you vote for or try to convince you this person is better than that. I will give you reasons why I decide on this person versus that. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
It's a case of, these are the facts that I believe in.
Or
This is why
experience.
I feel this way,
Right.
because of this factual information.
Right. Yeah.
You can't dispute facts.
And at the Adam Morgan issue, I mean, he tanked his own campaign. He refused to come sit down and talk to us. He
And again,
refused.
we have close people that basically went so against us overnight because of that. And that was, in my opinion, wrong on their side too. And maybe I believe because the other campaign promised them something, because it was weird how you can lose a friend. When you're friends with someone, it's not because the way they vote, in my opinion. There's so much more to it. So for me having a friend, so suddenly overnight, he is absolutely against me just because I don't support the candidate. There is more to it. We would never do that. I would never do that if I knew.
It would make you wonder if they were ever really your friend.
Well, yeah, it's politics, but I
But
just.
there's other things that go around
Sad.
in the background.
It is.
And we're about full transparency on stuff, and we're happy to talk about stuff, difficult things. But when somebody's running for office and they're unwilling to sit down and talk, I mean, we've dealt with here recently, and it's kind of died out a little bit, but it's the Mark Lynch thing.
That's a tough.
I mean, the guy won't sit down and talk. The guy,
Is Paul Diggs gonna come around? So is he still in the?
he's still in the race. He's come here. I mean, he's come here and met with us, but I don't see a great following for him.
I've never heard him talk yet.
And I think another example just recently, and I'm not gonna say any details. We met with someone, Jeff and I, who is thinking about running for office. And that person has friends and supporters all over different groups. And the first thing after meeting with us, that person messaged us, like we were sitting in a parking lot, that it was so refreshing to meet with us and hear that we would not put restrictions on who he can get support from, because I think he's heard that from others. We know.
If you're working with those guys, we're not going to support you.
Right.
That is like the most ridiculous thing of the planet.
We
I'm more interested in the candidate and getting the most conservative candidate.
Because the other direction, if you want our support, you have to be willing to come and sit and tell us what you're about, what you believe in.
Yes.
Are you going to keep a relationship with us after getting elected? Because if we get you elected, we would have expectations of you to at least give us an update on what you're doing, what you're working on, because we want to be part of it. We want to support your efforts.
Right.
So we expect the candidate to come to us, right? But it's.
But the other side will say, "Oh, they're not willing to come bend the knee or whatever." You know, I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" No, he just want, I mean, we're the party. We're supposed to talk to each
To
other.
me, it was
It's not about
It's right. That's what they're saying. And it's kind of like, no, because we're going to meet and talk about what your policies are, what you want to do, and and ask you a couple hard questions.
If you can't come together and talk about things, then you're not really concerned about the people you say you're representing.
Hello.
Because if there's no place that you're not going to come to a situation to dealing with somebody else, and you're not going to have a difference of opinion.
Chad
You
grew.
can see the other person's opinion has legitimate causes for them believing the way they do. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the way you believe. And it doesn't mean you have to change that either. You can still come to the agreement that we just can't agree.
I asked.
That is that should be an acceptable understanding, is that we can agree to disagree.
Well, you get
The problem is too many people are wanting to go to blows, go to court, and everything else over simple disagreements. It's just stupid.
Well, and Adam Morgan and some of these other people, they don't want to come answer our questions because then they're on the hook for their answers.
Yeah.
And I have seen politicians give one group an answer and then the next group a different answer. But they know we're going to document and write this stuff down and hold our feet to the fire.
Your answer should, if you have clarity, your answer should always be the same.
Right.
It
Which has
might
been
not
my
be-
experience with David Passman.
Which is not necessarily going to make everybody happy, but it shows your character that you at least stand by the principles of having that character.
Right. To me, it's a matter of, if you're not willing to sit down and at least talk with me and other people from different groups, how are you going to perform once you get elected? Because you have to represent everybody. You have to be able to listen to everybody. If you listen to everybody, you're not going to agree with everything.
Right.
But you got to act and vote in the best interest of everybody. And if you can't sit down and talk up front, there's no hope for you to represent me properly.
If you don't mind sharing, why did Mark Lynch say no to sitting down with the group?
I mean,
We had a long history.
we have a
with
long
Mark,
history with them. Yeah.
And there were things we didn't agree. No, we didn't
He's-
agree on.
He's very controlled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Who did he talk to?
him and his wife on personal.
We had
level.
a meeting, a 2-hour meeting with him. So he finally agreed to it. Greg and Frank set it up.
Right.
And then after that, he went dark again. Yeah. So we had an
We
arrangement.
had a history of working together, and at some point, Jeff and I and a few others decided to go separate ways because they were expecting of us certain
What a
things. From my
lot of
memory.
people, everybody,
Right.
everybody.
From what I remember, it was when we first got involved in 2021, and they wanted at some point us to disappear, and they were going to be in charge. And anyway, we never said you have to do this or that. We just said, hey, why don't you work on your things with your little group, and we're going to do our thing, and we can always work parallel. And we just, I think they have felt like since then.
Well, I don't have all the details, but I remember that.
There's
I
not like
remember.
one specific, oh, this happened.
Yeah.
That's why we're like, hey, sorry,
It's okay.
we can, sit back again and we've worked together in the past. Whatever it was, it's been so long. I don't
It
know.
has. I was going to say
We
that.
can sit and this is the reason, but we cannot be, when I'm hearing last month, 2 months ago, that new members of our hearing or at church from Sarah Lynch, by the way, do not trust the Jeff Davis guy. That has to be addressed.
Okay.
That's all, right? I don't remember what happened to me 5 years ago, but a month ago, you were told not to trust Jeff Davis. Let's sit down and air it out. We can put things behind us, but they cannot be, I want Jeff Davis's endorsement, but don't trust him. That's-
Or I want to come speak at the Greenville County Republican Party meeting, but I'm not going to talk to you before the meeting.
Right.
I'm like,
So that's, but there was. not-
sorry, you're not.
Going back that far, I think 2021, Ian Presley was my mentor. And
That's Presley's picture over there.
Yes. And he was a bridge that like between the two factions, whatever you call it. He kind of brought everyone together. Then he was murdered in the hospital. Things changed. Things changed. Dynamics changed. And if she's doing things like that now, that's not acceptable. That things need to move forward. And again, like you always say, bring it to the table. Let's hash it out with many people involved that maybe you've known since 2020. Like me, I'd be happy to come. 2020, 2021 had no relationship with Presley. All of it needs to be really just dealt with and move on.
Everybody needs to get in a room and hash it out, lock the doors, whatever you got to do until they all can come out and say we're going to work together to get the best candidate. You talk about a convention. They want to support their own candidate. I'm willing to sit there and say we put everything behind us and let's find the best candidate. You know, but they got their person that will work with them, that won't talk to us, so that's who they're going to support.
You know what? Just
Everybody's going to lose.
What Pamela said, and
except Lindsay.
I don't know. If
Yes, that Mark Lynch's failure to come to the table is why Lindsey Graham will be reelected. I will tell you, a big part of it, but I mean, if people on the conservative side could come together and work together, and if we had done it in ample time, I started reaching out to those guys in probably the third or fourth quarter of 2024 because he hired Evan Mulch to come work over there, and so I'm like, he's doing something.
What guys are you specifically talking about?
Mark Lynch, Evan Mulch, all that
his
group over there.
All the people that work for him?
Yeah.
All that group that I hear about on the signal all the time?
Yeah. And I've had his people reach out to me saying, are you willing to meet? I'm going to go try to get him to meet. I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know the Lynch as well.
But if we had started in 24 and actually built a movement over the state, you could have done it. It's too late now.
You know what?
I mean, it's not. Nothing's going to change. I mean, you're not going to build a huge momentum unless you got $100 million. You know, you could do it with $5 million over 2 years. You can't do it in the next 6 months or 5 months. It's June 9th is the primary. He's at 6% and it's June 9th.
And you're running against Lindsay, who has
right.
When Charlie Kirk died, I feel like Presley, I don't think it was our Charlie Kirk, but he had a talent of, he loved talking on the phone to people.
Yeah, at midnight.
At midnight, 2 a.m. So when different groups worked together with Presley was the one that always took a call, and we kind of talked about it recently. But he needed other people to do other things for him.
He did. He did.
So, anyway, I feel like almost when Presley passed, some people were not willing to work together because they want to be the Presley studs. They want to be the Charlie Kirk, right? You see guys talking about this person, and everyone is suddenly, not everyone, but some people are about themselves rather than what would Presley do. Presley would make the call. Presley would come over.
He would.
And he would. That's what Presley did. I don't know. That just came to my mind. Like it's about, I'm now Presley, so you have to.
Work for him.
Well, I don't know the Lynches well. I do say social impacting and events, friendly, and all that kind of stuff. But I can tell you, I'm confident in saying that Presley would say, "Work it out, fix it, let's do it, right now, let's do this."
Work it out in the way you better apologize
together, right? Amends
made.
made.
I don't want to see that again.
He was a Navy chaplain.
Yeah.
So he kind of and he. Most of his work, it was in the Marine Corps. The Marines don't have chaplains, so if you're a Marine, you're supposed to kill people all the time. So they use naval chaplains in the Marine, but he acted more like a Marine than a Navy guy. But he had that ability to bring people together. So.
The meeting between Jeff and Mark that I was able to get them to sit down. I think it took much to get Jeff to sit down. Jeff, as soon as they mentioned it, Jeff as well. It took a long conversation with Mark to get him to be willing to sit down. At the end of that meeting, what did I ask of both of you? I made a request of both Mark and Jeff. Do you want to say what I asked? Or you
Well,
want
you
me
asked
to
for
say?
us to make sure we exchange phone numbers to text or whatever call. And if we ever had a concern or an issue, reach out to the other party and ask the question.
And
And to what?
I went one step further. I said, if someone comes up to you, Mark, and says something
Oh,
about
yes,
Jeff,
yes,
I want you to pull out your phone
yes.
and get Jeff on the phone right then and there. Jeff, I want the same from you. Jeff said yes. Mark, I thought agreed, and then a few months later, I start getting attacked by his surrogate on one of the signal chats. And I politely refuted everything that person said, repeatedly, until finally they gave up. And then someone else came in and started to make comments. And I did the same with that person, repeatedly, until they gave up.
I remember that. Basically, the person was saying what happened in the meeting while the person was not there.
Right.
So,
Well, I don't know who that person is, but it is so much better working together if you can. If you can,
Yes,
you try.
Listen,
And you
we're
try.
behind. All of our conservative movement is behind because people will not come to the table and talk.
No.
I will talk to anybody. And I'm like, it frustrates them.
saying,
And I don't want to hear somebody come to me and say, well, Jeff said this. You know what? Let's call Jeff right now.
It sounds good.
But they don't want to do that because then all of a
Better
sudden,
yet, it's me.
he's going to know the truth. We're going to find
Right.
out they're lying. The biggest rumor that's been going around the whisper campaign that we're trying to,
Say stuff
Well,
behind.
there's
Say-
something-
that I'm a racist, that I made these racist
Oh,
comments.
my gosh.
But there are other comments about me weren't getting anywhere. So then they started the whisper campaign that I made some racist comments and some racist things.
Well, it hasn't made its way to Lexington.
I'm not sure how far. I'm not sure how far it went here either, but
Just
I
the
think
250 lawsuits.
shut it down.
Yeah.
We knew it wasn't true.
It's ridiculous.
it went on for a long time before I even heard about it.
That's true.
And I'm like, what? Like, wait a second. I'm personally offended by that.
But again, the way is to stop it. If someone comes to me and says something about Troy, okay, you know what? Let's call him up and talk to him right now. I don't want to hear.
And what's the
I don't
Bible
wanna-
verse on
Show
that?
me, prove
Matthew
I
it.
don't
what?
want to hear gossip.
That's what I do. Show me your receipts.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear gossip.
And then,
And they left.
And there's a biblical basis for that.
Yeah.
And gossips, as far as God is concerned, are the equivalent of murderers. So you want to be a murderer?
Go ahead.
Oh, now you hit the right between the eyes.
Well, you're murdering somebody's reputation because you're spreading lies and rumors that
Their reputation might as well kill them.
Right.
yeah, it's really bad.
So what else we have today?
Anyway, back to your original question. I have to say, as officer of the GOP, this is my personal opinion for candidate.
Okay.
I do not represent the GOP. I just tell my personal.
Right.
Yeah, you-
I do the same.
And then I give reason as to why I endorse, or I'm going to vote for this person.
I think if we were to formally endorse, you need to do something more formalized and all that. It's just, but sometimes there's just general
Kinda like our
consensus.
resolutions.
Yeah, something a little bit more like
But you
that.
mentioned the government.
Get the executive committee.
Yeah.
It really is.
Vote
Yeah.
on
Just throw them up in the air and go to lands like this.
buy into
We're
the
still
vision.
hoping for.
We're still
But
still
even,
praying about it.
but
Unicorn.
Smash unicorn show us.
But what's
That's true.
funny about the votes that we took in October, on those resolutions and the censures, really. I mean, everybody was pretty much in agreement on the censures, except for a few 18 to
Yeah.
10% or whatever. Did a lot of those people only voted against them because out of spite?
Out of spite, exactly wrong.
I mean, I look at it and I'm like, this
That's
person
ridiculous.
doesn't believe all this type of
But
stuff.
that's the way people are.
I know, but I mean, like, why are they holding back? I just find it crazy. It's just-
That's why.
What was it?
But I also remember that meeting you had, some that were going up there and were doing things just to, like I said, cause chaos.
I know. You should have seen the old days. That was nothing. Yes, sir.
And I don't know, I talked to Lee on the phone, one of Olga's callers. I don't know if he passed the time, but I made the suggestion that we leash the three people at the back of the January 12th meeting that wouldn't stop. Just, put it in force it back there, I'll do it. But she kept saying that she couldn't hear and all this other kind of stuff.
Oh, yes.
And you finally said there's 50 open seats in the front. We don't need to shout with the back.
But she doesn't reside in Greenville County.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Oh, that lady, yes.
Yeah, they were three of them that were disrupting the whole thing.
They were.
Yeah, it ruined a lot of the thing. So anyway, some strategy for dealing with that.
And Ray Sheen and the rules guys.
I thought you were too nice.
It was too nice.
But it's also not my position to go out there and boo them out. I think people got frustrated with it. And a little
And
more
I'd like
formal.
you to
Well, it's almost that y'all need to vote to the
The other thing was for January 12th, and I don't know how the things are put together, but we had like a picnic on the park out of Bell Street or something like that, where the speaker was a January 6th.
Yes,
victim.
yes.
I thought he was very enlightening. And
Yes.
since Trump has revived that whole thing with the pardons,
Mhm.
on the agenda for the 12th, that kind of, so you got 5 minutes, now,
Who is
but like an update on what is going on with the real victims of the January 6th, because I thought he was good. I mean,
I think other games spoke to it.
it's just, okay.
No, I mean, yeah, and yes, I think we're going to be pretty full on the 12th.
On the 12th,
So I think it's going to be a full
If
meeting.
you get to know
But-
Jeff, you will learn that he does give people
Mhm.
I know
a
for a
lot
fact.
of opportunities to
Yes,
get to the point that we're all like, Jeff, just cut
In
it.
the old days, we had some of these EC meetings that went after midnight.
Yeah.
Because he wants people to,
be
he
able to-
does not want to, anyone said,
Oh,
I was not,
Absolutely
I was
empathize,
not able
agree
to
with,
talk.
Well, at the library, we got to be out by 8:30, so
But
we got to go.
we learn if you let people that don't have good intentions talk, they will just take
Go
it
on.
off.
Yeah.
So now we're learning you have to shut it off.
That's their trick.
Yeah. It's not for good reasons.
And that's going to be the challenge on the 12th is to keep some of these hecklers
there you go.
under control.
I think we'll be okay with the speakers in the beginning, and then the business meeting will be the second half. And so, I mean, there may be some, but I'm not quite sure there's that much.
You're going to have a couple, that's for sure.
I like Tom's idea because at the end of the day, like disputing where $300 goes doesn't make a difference in our lives. Like we're here to make sure Republicans win elections and our lives change. Like that's why I'm part of it.
Right.
So
Yeah, that's what we
You
call
can put it in there.
okay.
Yeah. We don't,
Megan,
we
the
don't,
speaker there, and present that.
Well, and Alicia Walensky actually came up to the mic
we don't.
and tried to make that point.
We don't want people to think, oh, we're not allowing people to ask about the treasury report, about
But
the.
After half an hour, that won't happen.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point, okay, what's your point here?
Yeah.
Go
Right.
talk to the treasurer outside, right? And
Yeah.
the treasury reports are online, by the way.
You
If
see
you want to
them
see
now.
them, they're all there.
But they won't ask a question before because
No.
they want to come up to the mic and want to disrupt. But it's nothing like it used to be. But that's why, but when we first took over or were voted in 21, we literally, the first thing we did was pass a motion to have monthly meetings.
Oh, yeah.
We
That
did
was
these.
the best idea.
Oh, yes.
It
Yes.
was.
And it was. And I think it was good at the time because we hammered through a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah, we did.
A whole bunch.
Those were till 12 o'clock though.
Those were long meetings. Those were like, it was crazy.
But it helped read out.
It did, it did, it did.
Yeah.
And then we went to every other month, and now we're quarterly. I love the quarterlies.
Actually, what Pickens did in
Yearly.
Tim Bruce's first term in 2021,
Uh-huh.
they got rid of all their meeting schedules and just on at the call of the chair. So whenever they had business to do to have a meeting, they would call a business meeting. So they didn't even have quarterly.
Well, by doing quarterly, we normally have meetings
Weekly.
But then they would have
Yeah.
other kind of things to
Yeah,
get less
that's
people come talk
right.
about that.
Our rules state that at the first business meeting after the convention, the EC body decides
And we
on
did.
on the meeting schedule. If we only want to meet
Once every 6 months.
once every 6 months, we could vote on that. And then at the call of the chair, we could have special meetings to handle certain business.
And that's what we voted on, I thought.
Yeah.
Well, we did
To do quarterly, and then if anything came up, we would do.
Yeah.
I'm not in DC anymore, so I don't know.
Oh, you've been demoted.
You were there?
I was there, but I'm not in DC. I don't get to vote anymore.
She's just a president.
She's just a vice president.
Just a desk coordinator.
Cherry, I feel your pain.
Very good.
I just get to sit and listen now.
It's the whole thing is very interesting. And Ben Blunt, Ben, chair of the Greenville County Council, he wrote his year-end thing, and he thanked people for what they're doing. And, and it's his first year as chair. And, it's been fun to watch him kind of evolve through it. And you know what? He doesn't want to put up with the stuff in the meetings. Right? He's like,
Did everyone see the email about our accomplishments of 2025? Yeah. I don't know. It was, to me, very rewarding for our group to put that together to see actually we forget how much we accomplish, especially if you have distractions. And
we do a lot more than any other county.
Right.
That's out there.
We're busy all the time.
For sure.
So
This year's busier with the primary.
26 is going to be very busy.
Real busy.
We got a lot on
so
the schedule.
it's just
You guys are wasting my time. Here's my Christmas list. Skip all the getting a consensus, right?
We don't have
That's the hard part.
but it's all the teamwork. It's not one person. It's not even the officers or the ECs. It's everyone who always is willing to help and do things.
And we're working on one of the things I'm working on right now is a list of everything we're going to do for the year, just like kind of the big stuff,
Yeah,
And
he's been
even
working
that,
on it 2 weeks.
I mean, that's a lot, and we need a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and part of it, like one of the people who I was speaking to yesterday, Presley scheduled us, and we did a tour of the White House several years ago. And you can do all that. Take a bus. I mean, that's something we should plan out. We can do every other year or whatever. And
If you don't want to, actually, we have someone.
oh, we have somebody to do it. So,
praise God.
no, yeah. No, I mean, you can't lay it all on Terry. No.
It's on you.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'm there.
That was actually another great example. CME Delaney,
Yeah.
the person, remember our trip to DC before, and thought it would be great to do it again. And they offered to put it all together from
Awesome.
January to,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
yes.
So there's a huge team of people that are doing things. And then I think we lay it out.
The charity.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty.
And you say there's charity.
Yeah.
Because I want to
It's
hear
just gonna be.
So soon as the primaries and all that. That's the problem with that. So, and if somebody got tickets to the Masters, we gotta have a Masters thing. No, I don't think that's it. They don't exist anymore.
I've been one time.
It's a good experience. It's good to go one time.
We're not going to do the overnight trip though. We did two different trips in 1 year. One was for, I think, 2 nights, and one was overnight. We drove overnight to DC, spent a full day in DC. And
Like you start at 2 o'clock here, you drive, then you go to your tour during the day and then drive back.
It was
Yes.
I don't know.
We got there in the morning.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Did you spend the night?
Nope.
Oh,
We
we
got
did.
back on the bus.
We
Took
did.
back on the bus.
You were
Back on the bus.
You were awake for like 2
On the
days.
bus.
Oh, we did a bus.
You sleep on the bus.
Sleep on the bus.
Sleep on the bus.
I
don't sleep anywhere pretty much.
I was too.
But boy, it was.
Part of you on the bus.
That's right, party on the bus. That's right.
First, second night you
Did you
sleep.
have an update or anything?
Only
Okay,
you
okay.
sleep.
Oh, yes. That's key. Next Monday at 3 days
Yeah,
at
3 days.
Denny's. You're going to do your socialist piece, throw a 3-part series every month, first Monday of the month, and it'll be at Denny's. Come at 5:30. You'll start at 6, 6:30.
I'll start at 6:30.
6:30.
Yes.
So I think that'll be interesting.
Back room.
In the back room,
The-
to the barcode in the, what are those things called?
QR.
QR code. You have to register.
Oh, you
I'll
did?
register.
I did.
I think
I'm just.
I'm trying to get a head count.
URL, print it out if you want to do it on your computer and also has QR code.
So how do I bring this?
So Q card,
Okay, all right.
QR's on the full
I
board.
didn't know I had to do it.
We're gonna do that. That'll be fun.
That's right. I registered me and 3 others,
With the 3 others.
some friends. I
Yeah,
registered out.
Three.
All those 4 Democrats that voted.
That's right. The Democrats, they probably won't even come. They probably forgot about it already.
Who else has something they want to say or update, or what's your resolution? What you want to work on for this year?
I think, I was thinking about this young man in Minnesota. By himself, with his little cell phone. And he has turned this country upside down. If we had this year involving another 100 young guys like him, can you imagine what that'll do? The change that'll do.
And I think the way his demeanor of just kind of walking kind of quiet about it, he wasn't like some of us. We're like, so mad, you got to look at this. They're so corrupt. He just like asked them
But
questions.
he has turned both Democrats and Republicans upside down. They're shaking their boots.
Yes.
And when Trump said, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Just watch New York
It is.
and Illinois.
California. And South Carolina.
I don't think we have the free healthcare, but Mandami, one of his things was he wants to get free healthcare.
You wonder why.
Why is he picking on healthcare? Because they kind of know it.
It's like people in Manhattan already told you to pound things. People where all the money is in Manhattan, they're right now they're considering seceding from the city of New York.
Wow.
The people
Both
of
these
Manhattan.
Max and Fox this morning. were
As a
talking about
Syracusean, that was my idea.
The city of Manhattan, 90% of the mayor's
All
office.
kinds of legislators are going on
Borough
there
or Staten
saying,
Island.
They're
we gotta
in-
look into this. I didn't know.
Yes, Staten
I mean, Democrats and Republicans both are on these news networks now saying,
Where are they being?
we gotta look at this now. Yeah, the question is where they've
Where
been
they-
for the last 9 years.
Because my theory is they've known.
They know.
Now they're jumping on the bandwagon.
Yes.
Well,
So-
that was it in 2016 under Trump.
Yes.
That wouldn't know.
It went
Yeah.
nowhere.
But it was, they knew back in 2016.
There was that testimony of that one gentleman, like in 2016, 2017, and it's like he was saying $100 million. I'm like,
And
That's
nobody-
That's
Tip of the
in
iceberg. It's just the tip of
Well,
the iceberg.
it's the media even Fox.
Yeah.
So all the big media boys right now are shaking their boots saying,
Well,
oh my God, if these kids wake up,
And then it's like in this kid's case,
it's gonna be.
he's got CNN coming out after him,
Yeah,
that he's not a journalist. Hold on, what does it take to be a journalist? Ask the question.
The best share was of that information was JD Vance sharing it, saying this guy has done more investigative journalism than all the Pulitzer Prize winners from last year combined, or something like that.
Where's the Senate Oversight Committee? Where's the Congressional Oversight Committee? What are they doing? They're doing nothing because they're all complicit.
They're covering up.
That's
for
why
the
this young man, just him alone, has exploded, and it's not going away.
I don't think it is.
It's not gonna go.
That really has woken up a lot of people.
So,
But see, we were talking about Trump a few minutes ago, his speaking. But that's where he needs to call out. He needs to ask for more help, and that's what Trump doesn't do a very good job, in my personal opinion. He should be calling out where's those congressional committees and those subcommittees doing their job instead of I. He needs to be challenging the other groups to step up to the plate. That's what I don't think Trump does a very good job of.
Which gets me back to the point of David Pasco and this public corruption. I mean, it can get out of control in the sense that, Trump saying I, he can control it. Maybe that's what part of the issue might be. But if you widen it open it wide like that, you can't control it. And it may, in fact, impact people that support him or on this side, our side. It's going to hit everybody. I'm okay with that. I think we ought to just,
Because the
open
system
all.
isn't working. So that's
Yeah.
what, you have, if we want to change the system, we got to change our behavior.
Right.
And we have to,
Now, what I will connect for you guys on our fight with school choice with this, I look at this, the big part of the problem is this was government sending government money in checks, right? Nobody in government gives a darn and is going to sit there and go follow up, say, oh, is this kid's really there? Is this type of stuff going? Or they can slide some stuff that there's nobody else looking at it, right? There was a complaint. Florida is trying to move, the big players in school choice in Florida are trying to move from an independent nonprofit thing, even though they've kind of, hammered out all the competition, to this ESA thing. So they don't have to raise the money. So they can just get the money and send it out. Well, the big player down there, and apparently they self-reported it or whatever, after the fact, they sent like 100 or 80 or 100 scholarships from kids that were transferring from one school that was being shut down to another that was like 200 miles away. These families didn't all move, right? Yeah, but it was the government money thing, and they just sent the check, as opposed to what we look at. You don't see this kind of corruption in the school choice, with the independent nonprofits. Because guess what? If we did that, if Olga and I did that, because obviously all those kids didn't move 200 miles. We're driving 200 miles every day. So it was just somebody was doing a favor and ended up funneling the money back to somebody. But I'm like, we would lose all of our donors if we did that. So, you want to talk about oversight. Independent nonprofits are more oversight of that kind of handing out the money.
There's more transparency.
Yeah.
I don't, Ellen Weaver and the Department of Ed can send money to whomever, with ESAs. I don't know if they have students. You don't know where they send the money. It's so after the fact. It's so, you just don't know. And that's where I get to the government, kind of laziness is they're 9 to 5s at best.
well, it's someone else's money, so they don't, there's no accountability.
That's the point. That's the
It's somebody else there. It's my budget, so I got to spend it.
Listen to this. This is something I learned recently. At the old county square, we used to have 3 police officers. The new county square has 13 full-time police officers, deputies, sheriff's deputies. They all have vehicles.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. What are they doing? Why do you need a vehicle if you're providing security? Number one, go from 3 to 13. The building's only up from 8:30 to 5. Some of them, and then they're guaranteed 5 hours of overtime. Well, they're coming. Why do you need to start work at 6 when nobody even comes in the building till 8:30?
And the vehicles are just
Park there.
Well, they might be in emergency, they have to respond to.
go get lunch. I like police officers and all, but aren't we complaining that there is not enough?
Patrol people. I hear it all the time from people from the southern part of the county. They're like, you make a call, it's 30, 40 minutes an hour, 2 hours. Because there's nothing down there.
Didn't everyone ask for a raise?
Well, let's go a step further. What about our state house? Isn't it some kind of lifetime pension or benefits?
I don't. There's all kinds of ways to work that system. That's why you'll see a lot of legislators when they get out, because apparently the years of service can count as an elected official into the pension program. So the pension would be calculated based on your $10,000 salary. What happened? But they will get like a magistrate's judge appointment. They're making 6 figures, and then it's calculated off the 6-figure thing. So they got 20 some odd years of service with 6 figures versus.
Then you get into the state healthcare system.
That's it.
There's all of that. It's
Military time.
so. We all talk about the lawyer legislators, and you can kind of pick on that. They're
There's
picking
so
the judges,
much.
but there's all this other stuff that's out there as well. So and it's never ending. That's what I told you. You're like, I need to get out of here. I think that Spartanburg meeting with Pastor is like, oh my God, it's so bad. I've got to get out.
The two guys I mentioned that's in the Senate, the ones that were endorsed by the current Lexington GOP, these guys in the 20 and 30s, maybe 40, they're lawyer legislators.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's another example. And you see what you're getting, the voting you're getting.
And we have a super majority.
Yeah, lower than stuff like lower than top.
Wow.
That's scary. That's very scary.
It was interesting. Yes. So, all right, guys. Anything else? Closing out. You ready? Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion to adjourn. Can we debate it?
No.
All right. Oh,
It's a privilege motion. Second one's not necessary.
I will say that Ray Sheen, our other parliamentarian, the Rules Committee, he's done a video series. I think it's 12 videos about Robert's Rules of Order, little short clips. We're going to start doing all those type. We may actually, I think if we put them all together, it could be like 2 hours, maybe on a Saturday. Just come play them and go through 2 hours and knock them all out. We thought about that too.
For 6 minutes, we can start every meeting here to watch on video
And then discuss.
Yeah,
We
that's great.
started at 11 o'clock.
We can just let it play while I'm still getting my coffee. And then Tom has something to do. All right. Thank you all. Happy New Year. 26 is going to be great. And we'll see you next week. And on the 12th and on Monday, come to that socialism thing. I think that's cool.
What time is
Yeah.
Monday?
5:30 if you want to eat. It'll start at 6:30. You just ordered it.